welcome to Landscape and Lore. I have been MIA, unfortunately, and this is going to be a bit of a vlog and also a recorded adventure. As you may or may not know, I'm a published author, and I've got a lot of irons in the fire right now. I am developing a course on how to create ebook covers in Canva. I have clients that I work with as far as building graphics and covers and simple websites, landing pages, things like that. I have my own projects that I need to do. One is finish the edits on a book that will be releasing next month. I need to feature that at a book signing that I'll be doing at a local book festival. It's kind of a big deal, but it's exciting. And at the last minute, I decided to change the POV in this book. And so the edits have just been horrendous. So I was wondering, what can I do to provide some content that is not going to eat up time that I just don't have right now? I really want to do a road trip. I'm the kind of person that I'm very antsy. I need, not want, but need to be in the great outdoors. In fact, my husband, when I start getting grumpy, he goes, "You need to take a hike." And he means it. And he's right, because that's how I get grounded. That's how I deprogram from stress. And I haven't done a lot of that this year. So I can feel that I need to go. And I want to do a longer road trip. I'm hoping to make it out to Marfa, Texas, which is the site of some unexplained orbs. Now, I've been there before. I have seen these orbs. I have filmed these orbs, but I would love to go out and do a live presentation for you guys. And that's on my list, but it's not going to happen for a while. Right now, I have this book that I'm finishing edits on. I'm up to my eyeballs in projects. I've just got too many things, too many irons in the fire, as my mom used to say. I have written a series of short stories, fictional short stories, based on locations of unexplained phenomena, strange happenings, etc. To try to keep some content on my YouTube channel so you don't forget about me, I have taken one of those short stories and I did my version of an audiobook. Now, please know I am not a voiceover professional. I do not have the equipment. I do not have the patience, and I definitely don't have the voice. But I did my best. This was on a day hike several years ago. I came across a really unusual campsite that was abandoned at the time, but someone had lived there long term. And there was this note in a bottle. And on the bottle, there was a card that read, "Crazy Woman Camp." And the whole story behind this is really endearing and sad and unexplained and unresolved. No one knows what happened. Well, I wrote a fictional short story based on that experience. I'm just going to give you a heads up. It may be disturbing to some people because I do like to write horror, and this has some horror aspects in it. So if you don't like things like that, then you may not enjoy it. That's all I can say without giving away the ending. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. If you do, let me know. Leave a comment, because I have other short stories. You might say it's fan fiction for followers of the unexplained. And I'd be happy to share those with you in audio form. But I like the fact that it gives the myth, the lore, the legend. It gives you background on what that story is based on. It is an original fictional story. These are copyrighted. Please do not use those. I don't want to have to sue anybody. But I hope you enjoy it. And I may have to do another one or two to keep content on this channel because I don't know when I'm going to get to the mountains. I'm going to go a little crazy if I don't do it soon. And if I do find a way to slip away for a couple of days, I will definitely film it, make sure that it's someplace unusual or fun or historical or something that I think would interest you. And until next time, please like, share, and subscribe. And as I said, leave a comment and tell me if you like my attempt at an audio version of the short story. And if not, I totally get it. I'm not a voiceover person, but I will have an anthology coming out in print, which may end up being the better of the two options. I don't know. Anyway, see you later. The myth and the story starts now. Crazy Woman Camp, Ajo, Arizona. The myth. In the far reaches of southern Arizona, just north of Organ Pipe National Monument, lies the tiny hamlet of Y. Little more than a wide spot in the road, the town's main attraction is a rustic market and gift shop, aptly named the Why Not Store. One can purchase fuel, snacks, and Mexican automobile insurance before traveling across the border. Some partake of homemade biscuits and gravy at the restaurant next door. Many of those folks are seasonal visitors who populate the nearby RV parks and BLM land and campers and RVs during the winter months. Gunsight Wash is a favorite for people with self-contained rigs who prefer solitude to a crowded RV park. The local Border Patrol Division in Ajo maintains a strong presence in the area, providing campers with a sense of security. Well-traveled routes are tucked away in the craggy mountains used by illegal immigrants and Mexican drug cartels as a passage into the United States. Unfortunately, for many illegals venturing through the remote wilderness with a backpack of canned tuna, a change of clothes, and dreams of wealth, the harsh conditions of the desert surpass their endurance. Hikers and ATV riders often stumble upon sun-bleached skeletons and makeshift graves. On a day hike near Gunsight Wash, I discovered a primitive but elaborate long-term campsite with an odd history. It was located in the middle of nowhere next to a dry wash, which made the find even more astounding. How could anyone survive miles from civilization for any length of time? At first glance, it was obvious the occupant had put great effort into making the area homey. Circling bushes and trees with carefully placed quartz and bits of metal and glass. A 4-foot stone oven with metal grates stood like a silent sentinel beneath a sprawling ironwood tree. Positioned on top of the fireplace was an empty liquor bottle bearing a handwritten card, Crazy Woman Camp. Upon closer inspection, I found a note inside which read, "The way the story goes is this. A woman and her son lived in town where the son got into drugs and such. Determined to free her son of his demons, she set camp on this spot. Days filled with desert solitude, loneliness, and hard living, the son was forced to give up his sinful ways. Living in a tent, they built the stonework you see and buried their horse in a grave just to the west of here. Locals called her Crazy Woman, but far from crazy, I think she was a loving mother who was willing to suffer along with her son to bring him to a better life." After reading that note, I took a better look at the area and discovered two graves a short distance away and wondered if they were the final resting places of Crazy Woman and her son. Closer to the camp was a large mound where their horse allegedly was buried. Scratched into the surface of a flat stone read the words, "A man's best pal." I often think about Crazy Woman. The desert and isolation can magnify irrational thoughts. Perhaps she could no longer function in society and found peace in the harsh elements until they claimed her as one of their own. Regardless, I feel there is more to her legacy than what was written on that note inside the empty liquor bottle. A story that is now lost to the ages. The short story, Fish Bait. Jack Brody eased off the accelerator, gliding his ATV to a halt near the ironwood tree. Removing his helmet, he glanced around the primitive campsite before shutting off the engine and disembarking. She's not here. Walking to the back of the vehicle, he removed a case of water strapped to the rack and placed it beside the tree. A tiny puff of smoke circled a rock fireplace several feet away. He grinned. Crazy Woman was hiding. She was feisty for such an old gal. "Hey, Nana, where you at?" Jack sauntered to the edge of the dry wash and slid down a 4-foot embankment to soft sand and gravel. It was hot this time of year. Even the rattlesnakes stayed under cover during the day. His brows drew together as he searched the dusty landscape. What if Nana was sick? Heat stroke was not uncommon in southern Arizona, especially for the elderly. His expression twisted into a concerned frown. Why the hell would an 80-year-old woman want to live in this god-forsaken stretch of desert? Maybe she didn't have any money or family, at least none who cared. Jack scratched the back of his head, eyes darting up and down the wash. One of his buddies said she brought her son out here 10 years ago. The teenager had fallen into a bad crowd and developed a drug addiction. She thought the isolation would cure him of his demons. If that were true, the kid must have hauled ass a long time ago. Not that he blamed him. This place was as close to hell as anyone could get without dying. He crawled up the embankment and headed for the shade, still worried, but seeking a cooler place to think. Nana was tough, but not that tough. After discovering the old woman's camp during his first week as a Border Patrol field agent, Jack had made her his personal charity case. He regularly delivered care packages, keeping his off-duty activities a secret from coworkers until another agent saw him in the desert. "She's loco," the man said. "We stay away from Crazy Woman's camp. You best do the same." Jack nodded, but declined to take the advice. His weekly visits became something he enjoyed, a challenge. The withered human hiding beneath an old felt hat and a head of gray, straw-like hair possessed a wit he found endearing, reminded him of his grandmother, God rest her soul. He nicknamed the woman Nana and gradually gained her trust, although some days it felt more like taming a feral animal. As he brushed dirt from his jeans, a low, husky voice crept over Jack's shoulder like a slithering serpent. "Jack." He whirled around, smiling as the hunched figure eyed him from a few feet away. Coppery wrinkles lined her face, the result of too many days under an unforgiving sun. "I brought you a case of water." "I see. You good boy, Jack." He wiped his brow with the back of his hand. "It's going to be real hot for the next few days, Nana. Why don't I take you to Aho? One of the churches opened a shelter for people with nowhere to go." "I got a place. This is my home." "It's a tent, Nana, not a home." She jutted her chin and looked away.
home.
When was the last time you ate?
Yesterday, maybe longer, but today, Jack, I eat good. Let me cook for you.
He arched a brow.
What you got to cook?
The old woman flashed a broad smile. Most of her front teeth were missing, evidenced by a gaping hole.
Big surprise. You stay, Jack. I cook.
His mouth twisted to one side, contemplating the invitation. He was off work until Thursday. It wasn't as if anyone was waiting for him at home. Oh, why the hell not? Okay, Nana, I'll stay, but I want to work for my supper. What can I do to help?
Rocks. I need more rocks for my garden.
Jack bit his lip to keep from laughing. No wonder all the agents called her crazy woman. She gathered stones from the desert and made a border around every bush and tree near her camp. Some of the edgings were shaped in hearts, others in circles. Further away, small bits of white quartz formed a maze, or a walk, or some kind of odd design she dreamed up in her head. Not that it mattered, because Nana found it pretty. Pulling a backpack from his ATV, Jack wandered a short distance into the desert and began filling the bag with baseball sized rocks. Damn, it was hot. How did the old gal keep from getting heat stroke? He looked up just as she removed something from inside a ragged piece of old canvas. What the heck was she up to now? Jack dumped his bag of rocks near the ironwood tree and grabbed a bottle of water from the case. He drained half the contents while watching her place a slab of pink meat on the grill. What you got there?
Fish.
His brows shot up. Fish? There ain't no water around here. Where'd you get fish, Nana?
Oh, they're here, but not as many as there used to be. Harder to catch.
She stoked the coals without looking up. Smoke curled around her hunched figure, hiding her face. Jack shook his head and walked back to the ATV. That wasn't fish. Maybe rabbit. Jack stopped and looked back. Oh, hell, it was probably coyote.
Jack, come here. Eat.
He hesitated. The thought of eating some unknown meat, possibly tainted from lying in the sun for a day, did not appeal to him. The poor old gal wasn't right in her head. She must have snared a rabbit or ground squirrel and thought she was fishing. This time he did laugh. It was short, more like a snort, but prodded him to relax and join her. He'd eaten crispy tarantulas in Cambodia during Nam and survived. Whatever Nana was cooking had to be better than insects. Wiping his hands on a faded bandana, Jack sauntered back to the masonry fireplace. Smells great. She shot him a toothless grin.
I smoked this piece just for you. It's real tender. Sit on that rock.
He eased his large frame onto a flat top boulder. A few minutes later, gnarled fingers handed him a 6-inch strip of meat on a mat woven from grass. A gooey sauce slathered the surface. Jack stared at the charred meat for a full minute before tearing off a sliver and sliding it into his mouth. He rolled it over his tongue before swallowing, surprised by the flavor. Not gamey at all, and tender, just like she said. This is good, Nana. I really like this sauce. Is that made from prickly pear? The old woman cackled and nodded.
See, I tell you.
He needed no encouragement to finish the meal. It was nice of you to share your food, Nana. I know you don't have a lot to eat. She shrugged.
It's been slow fishing with all this heat, but I got good bait. I know how to catch 'em.
Well, you'll have to tell me your secret. The last time I went fishing, I didn't even get a bite. Blue eyes twinkled beneath the brim of her hat.
Used to be easier. You soldier men chased the fish away.
Was she talking about the Border Patrol agents? How did we chase the fish away, Nana? She didn't answer, her pinpointed gaze tracking his movements. Jack reached for his water bottle. Man, you must have coated that meat in red pepper. It sure is spicy. The back of his hand swiped across his forehead. I'm sweating even in the shade. How do you stand this heat?
I like it hot. Good for jerky. Dries the meat real fast.
Jack handed her the grass mat before pushing to his feet. Whoa, I'm feeling a little dizzy. I must have gotten too hot when I was gathering rocks. She took his arm and eased him back on the stone.
You sit. Feel better soon.
His knees buckled before he reached the boulder, causing him to land in the dirt. Something was wrong. That meat must have been tainted. Food poisoning. I think I got food poisoning, Nana. I don't feel so good.
Not poison. That run meat. Just herbs to make you sleep.
Jack blinked several times as his vision began to blur. His tongue felt thick, swollen. Opening his mouth, he gasped for air. Words gurgled in his throat, but never made it past his lips. Panic coursed through his veins as Jack summoned every ounce of strength and pushed to his feet. He took one step and collapsed. Is he asleep? A man with long hair and a scraggly beard emerged from a deep hole covered by brush. The woman nodded.
Get the rope, boy.
She tied it to Jack's feet. Her son threw the other end over a sturdy limb and hoisted Jack's unconscious body into the air. He walked away, returning a few minutes later, dragging an empty metal drum, which he centered under Jack's body. Nana grabbed Jack's hair and pulled his head back, revealing a wide expanse of neck.
I stick him. He bleed out quick. You get rid of that motor car.
Can't I keep him, Mama?
No, not good. Someone might see it.
But I want it. None of the other fish have ever had anything we can use.
You get rid of it, like I say.
The old woman whirled around, pointing a bony finger at her son.
I'll sharpen the knife. We get lots of jerky out of this one.
She tugged on Jack's arm, examining the muscular tone of his shoulder.
This is white meat, not like those dark ones we catch in the desert. I feed you good, boy.
Do you want me to bury the bones in the same place as the others? She nodded.
Now you know why I say dig that hole wide and deep. Gotta cover up these fish guts before they start stinking.